again, this is the type of thing that a lot of students don't think about. You're going to get your education. I mean, that's going to be, you're going to get your diploma here. If you go to OCC, you're going to get your degree there. If you go on to a 4-year, if you go into psychology, you're going to go into graduate work. Make sure you involve yourself, because ultimately, you have to be thinking about not just your career, but how you get that job. So this is kind of a generalized thing that you would be wanting to fill out in a resume. Now, you're going to work years for your degree, or sometimes much longer if you're going to do the doctoral program. But again, consider that's only 1, 2, or 3 lines on your resume. You want to have those other things that are there, because those are the things that are going to get you the job, and those are the things you're going to end up talking about in a job interview. And also, again, if you're not sure exactly what you want to do, it's a way of finding out maybe what you do want to do. And that's, again, looking for ways of getting into volunteerism, maybe student organizations, some activities and events. And you don't even have to spend a ton of time. I call it time versus line. Again, years, sometimes, semesters and years to do your degree. But for every hour you volunteer, you get involved, you get a line in your resume. I had this actual, I still have it? Yeah. A mailbox that reminds me of the student who came out to help our National Honor Society do a letter campaign, right? So he was stuffing envelopes, folding all this, looking, well, actually was taping, and then did probably, 100 plus of these over a couple hours. And I said, well, remember to put that on your resume. He goes, why would I do that? I'm just stuffing envelopes. I'm like, no, you're not. You are a volunteer in a National Honor Society's recruitment campaign. And I'm not lying. So he comes in for an hour, helps us out, gets that line on the resume. Those little things really start to add up. And again, it gives you something to talk about. Like that, again, the number one lament of the 23-year-old, it's not that your grades aren't important, that they're gonna look at a GPA, but what they're gonna ask you about is some of those other things that you've done. Because they may even have the same degree from the same institution. They wanna know what else you've done in some ways. And it doesn't cost you a lot of time. It seems like, oh God, I'm working, I'm going to school, all of this. If you can schedule that hour or 2 or whatever, those one and dones, it's going to make a huge difference on how fast you advance. You will give yourself so many legs up and networking. Remember, like I told you, my internship?
Never know who you're going to run into.
Boom, boom. We've left a stack of our cards here for both Lori and I. So you can take those with you. So even if we can't answer your question maybe fully, we refer you to the person who can. We just want you to have a face, someone that you actually know that you can talk to. And the other thing I was going to mention to you as well, if you want, we've got some interest cards there. If you want to fill one of those out, we can send you that kind of first email that'll give you a phone number on it. So if you want to take a campus tour, like photography, I think that you had mentioned that you're interested in, the Real Light campus is right over there. It is really cool. We not only have the IMAX and all the modern technology to manipulate both video and photography, but they also have film cameras. They teach you the historical perspective so that you're actually developing film. I thought that was kind of a cool piece. That you learn how to do the darkroom, and then again, with if you have the interest, they can show you how to maybe start marketing that. I believe at one point they were actually doing pop-up shows. They would do like a show downtown in Detroit for like a day or a weekend, and students would actually start selling their stuff before they even graduate.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And any of you applied to OCC?
I've applied to a couple colleges.
Okay. Well, it is a process, whether it's a 2-year or 4-year. So there's checklists that you follow. So take your time to go through that process. There should be a pen right on this side.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
And I know I think we're at about our stopping point there, because I know she said that we were at 10:20, correct?
What time's the bell ring, guys? Right before 11?
10:53?
Yeah, so we have some time.
I just want to show you this. If you guys do want to apply, and I encourage you guys to do it, it doesn't commit you and it's free, okay? But it gets one of those things out of the way. So if you want to apply, become an OCC student. It's on the very homepage, oaklandcc.edu, okay? And then you just put apply to OCC. I actually went through the process myself to remind me, because it's been a while since I was a student. And as long as you have your social security number, you could probably do it, I think, about 10 to 15 minutes at the most. And then you get that number, and that makes a lot of things easier. Like if you don't know what you, or still don't know what you want to do, the counseling office actually has some personal interest tests that can help match you with things that you like with things you might want to do in terms of career. And again, the cool thing is, again, about all of the, because you have kind of a spectrum of things you guys want to do. Cool thing about what you guys are going into, as opposed to like 50 or 70 years ago, it's not like, there's not just 5 professions anymore. Yeah, and you shouldn't be scared of that. That should be awesome. Your buffet is much larger than mine was, or even, you know, the Dev generation or two before. And the psychology piece of it, that is going to be really interesting, especially as they start integrating parts. I don't know, you probably don't know who Kurzweil is, but he's kind of like a Bill Gates type. And he actually theorized that in about 2050, the technology is going to become so advanced that we're going to have to start integrating it into our bodies to actually utilize it. So that's going to be a whole brave new world for you, if in fact, if you're doing physical therapy or the other piece of it.
Yeah.
Other questions? Well, I'm really excited for you guys. It's one of the reasons I like my job, because I still remember like that when you're like, oh, I'm done with high school, yes. And then getting into college, and then you finish the next piece of yes, and you move on, and I can still feel that thrill when I was not only accepted into state, but got the scholarship that I knew was going to pay for it. I thought it was like a hoax. I'm like, because I'm not a lucky person. So anyways, if you have any questions in the future, please give us an email. And of course, you can make a connection through sharing.